Hey, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, Infinite Crypto Cruisers. Hey there, folks. My name is Brad Varnell, and this is the Infinite Crypto YouTube channel. And how's it going, Eric and Dave? I see you both here in the chat. And to everybody else, welcome this morning. I am excited. It is Monday morning, June 10th already? And I am excited to get started with another beautiful week. So, folks, as you notice, I'm going to kind of get right into it. You know, the title of this video is Your Biggest Enemy and How to Fix It. And I'm sure that those of you that have been with me for a while, and even if you haven't been with me, if this is your first time, coming across me, you could probably guess what your biggest enemy is, right? Is there anybody here that wants to take a guess? Feel free to throw in the chat what your biggest enemy, that's keeping you from getting all of the success and having all of the dreams that you want in life. Feel free, throw it in the chat what you think your biggest enemy is. I'm going to go ahead and take a quick sip of my coffee while you guys throw what you think your biggest enemy is in there. I also wanted to say thank you very much, Eric. Had a great weekend. I'm looking forward to our workout today. And Eric, Eric said mindset. Very, very, very close. There's a lot of truth, negative mindset. And absolutely. So it's actually, what I was going to say, just slightly more specific than that we are our biggest enemy. Brad Varnell is Brad Varnell's biggest enemy. And, Eric Bernstein is Eric Bernstein's biggest enemy. And for most of us in life, unfortunately, we go through life with our best friend being our biggest enemy because, folks, we should be our best friend. We should be the person that is the most influential and positive person helping us achieve our goals and dreams. Of course, the people that you surround yourself with are extremely important and those types of things too. But if you're not aware of it, folks, you have somewhere in the ballpark, I believe it said it's 70 or 80 or 90,000 thoughts a day. And so one of the things that I wanted to mention is, you can't really, people always talk about, hey, you got to control your thoughts and control what you're thinking about. And that's true. But I think there's a lot of people out there that are like, what are you talking about? Control my thoughts. Like I can't, I think what I think. And to a certain extent, I agree with you. Like you cannot control the thoughts that are hitting your brain. Most of them are there before you realize they're there. So you can't specifically keep a thought from coming. Like right now, if I tell you, don't think about a white horse, you are going to think about a white horse. Everybody right now that is watching this is imagining a white horse, whether they want to or not. And so many things in our brain are influenced from outside external circumstances. So you're absolutely not going to be able to control everything that comes into your brain. But what you can control is how long you let it sit there for and what you choose to do with it once it's there. So that's kind of what we're going to talk a little bit about today. My son is actually at a church camp this week. It's the last year that he actually has an opportunity to go to this camp. It's up in Lake Hume in California, and he's with a bunch of his friends. So he is not here with me today, but I have my beautiful bride. I actually kind of like it when my son takes a break because I really like working with my wife, and she is incredible. She does a lot more behind the scenes for me than my son does. So she's kind of taking some of the notes and some of the things that I really wanted to make sure that I talk about today and getting them written down on a whiteboard for me so that it's easy for me to see without taking my attention too much off the screen and that kind of stuff. And so Hey, Cowboys of Crypto, Aaron is here. Good to see you, brother. This gentleman runs an incredible YouTube channel, talks about a lot of different meme coins, and just very, very knowledgeable in the space. Had an opportunity to meet him at Bitcoin Miami in 2022, and we've become good friends since. He came out to Vegas for NFT Con last year, I think it was, or maybe it was really late in 22. But anyways, got to spend some time, go have some Korean barbecue with him, and so appreciate him anytime he's stopping by the channel. That is great. Hey, how's it going, NSB Stellar? You ain't kidding, man. What's up? Have not seen you in a while. Hope you have been doing good, man. I have been doing fantastic. Just like everybody else, we had a couple of miserable years there during 22 and 23 mostly were not a whole lot of fun. But yeah, man, 24 has been a great year. It's settled down a little bit, but we are looking forward to it, getting better and better. But man, it's good to see you. I hope you are doing well too. So I've been rambling on just a little bit. Wanted to just kind of say hi to everybody and welcome you to Monday morning. Excuse me. For some reason, it seems like I'm always just a little bit nasally on these morning streams. I'm not sure what it is, but I always feel like I got to talk real fast and never take a second to, really gather my thoughts. And that's one of the things that I'm trying to do, is to take my time and be a little bit more deliberate. So one of the things that jumped out at me this week, especially this weekend, was we had a party at my house. And that's kind of how this topic really came to my mind and why I decided that I wanted to talk about it. So we had a party at my house and we had a lot of people over, and I got to talk to a lot of different people and get to see some people that I didn't know. The party was for my sister-in-law, who was getting ready to have a baby next month. And so it was an exciting time. It was a really great party, but I got to see and meet a lot of people that I didn't know. And then also at my church recently, I've been getting a lot of people that I don't know. I've been kind of volunteering at the back door, taking tithes and offerings, or people that want to serve the church, that are looking for an area to serve the church. But anyways, just recently, I've been talking to a lot of people that I didn't know very well. And one of the things that I've noticed in talking to them is it reminded me that not everybody has had an opportunity to really, hear this topic and to have it put hopefully into the context that I'm going to put it into. And hopefully you'll find that this is valuable. Now, I know that a lot of you that are watching this are already aware of a lot of the things that I'm going to be talking about, but at the same time, maybe some of you aren't totally aware of it, or maybe you're a little bit aware of it, but you don't do anything about it. So I once heard it said that knowledge doesn't do you any good. Applied knowledge is what counts. So if you read a book and you learn everything that the book has to tell you, but you never actually take any of those principles in the book and go apply them to your life, then it doesn't do you a whole lot of good. So maybe some of you are like me, where a lot of these things, I've known them, but I've caught myself in life not really applying them. And there she is, my beautiful bride. I appreciate you. I love you so much, Deanna. So yeah, thanks for reminding everybody. Yeah, if you're here on this, please smash that like button. Free to you, but really helps out the channel. So let me get rolling and really just kind of go through this, point by point. So the first thing that I want to do is just kind of talk a little bit about the problem and why we are our worst enemy. And then I also want to then give you guys a few of the solutions and the things that I'm working on. And then I want to give you guys, some really what I consider, the steps to take to maybe help yourself out of this funk. So let's get right to it. Why are we our worst problem? That's the first thing that we got to ask ourselves. And the good news, folks, is that it's not your fault. It's not my fault. From the time you were born, you came out perfect. When you were born, you came out perfect. You didn't have any fear. You didn't have any doubt. You didn't have any worry. You didn't have any imposter syndrome. You didn't have you didn't get embarrassed. You remember being, 1, 2, 3, 4 years old, or like even now you're 1, 2, you see 1, 2, 3, 4-year-olds running around naked, or with their diaper on, having fun, jumping in mud puddles and just living life and having fun. And what happens though is adults come into the picture, and a lot of times it's neither, it isn't, I was going to say it was neither good or bad, but a lot of it's bad. There's a lot of things in life that we get told not to do, and we learn at a very young age, oh, hey, you don't want to do that. You don't want to embarrass yourself. You don't want to look stupid. If anybody here has been told, hey, quit doing that, you don't want to look stupid, put a 1 in the chat. And I think every single person here, if they're willing to, be honest, has been told that at some point in time. I also saw an example one time where, a math teacher was writing out problems on a chalkboard, and he did 10 different math equations, and he did 9 of them right, and he did the 10th one wrong, or he did the first one wrong and the other 9 right. And his classroom was chuckling at him because it was easy stuff, like 1 times 1, 2 times 2, or whatever. So like on, he did 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 5, 3 times 3 is 9, and so on and so forth. And everybody just wanted to laugh and giggle and make fun of the fact that he had missed one problem. And the whole moral of the story was, when he was done, is he said, hey, you guys wanted to focus on the one thing that I did wrong versus the 9 things that I did right. And that's kind of the society that we are in. You can do everything right, but you make a mistake or you do something that's embarrassing, and people want to people want to pick on that. That's what they want to focus on. And so we got taught from a fairly young age. They started stifling our creativity, and they started getting us being embarrassed. And, at some point in time in our life, we started to believe that failure was a bad thing. So one of the first notes you can take, if you're taking notes, folks, is that failure is not a bad thing. Every single person has a ton of failure in your life. It's an absolute necessity to becoming successful. And I'll start off, most of you have probably heard this story, but I'm not going to assume, maybe you haven't, but the very first thing that you did in life, you failed over and over and over and over, and hundreds, if not thousands of times, you failed at trying to go from a baby that could not walk upright to being like your parents and your brothers and your sisters. You saw them walking and you wanted to walk. And as a baby, you didn't have any quit in you. There was no part of you as a baby that was like, well, I'm going to try to walk, but if I don't catch on here, fairly quickly, I'm just going to give up and crawl around for the rest of my life. And it might sound like a silly example, but folks, the mindset that you had that helped you learn how to walk is the same mindset in life that'll help you make millions of dollars in cryptocurrency and be successful in your marriage and be successful in anything that you want to do in life. At every single thing that you are good at, you started off bad. Right now I'm really working hard on my health, and I've got a fitness trainer, and it's been amazing. But most of the stuff that he is having me do is uncomfortable. I look like a little baby deer, that just came out of its mother's womb. I'm all wobbly, and I can't, I don't got any balance, and everything is uncomfortable. I'm like trying, you got to put your left arm up and then your right leg out. And, and half the time I put my left arm out, and then I want to put my left leg out, and I'm having to, it's all uncomfortable. But guess what? In a month or 2 or 6, I'll probably be able to teach the class if I keep on doing it. And we are all aware of this. It all makes sense. You all realize when I say that you were always bad at everything until you got good at it. That makes sense. But for some reason, as adults, that doesn't always help us jump in and try to do the new thing. So we have all of these fears and doubts and worries and caring about what other people think. And we don't want to do this because if we fail, we're going to look bad. And I was listening to a gentleman the other day, and a guy named Alex Hermosi that I like a lot, that says, you know what? All of your haters, all of your family members that tell you that's never going to work, they're all going to be right most of the time. You just got to get used to it. When Alex got into business, his first business failed. When he got in, and before he even really did his first business, half of his friends and family thought he was crazy for even doing a business in the first place. Like, why don't you just go get a job like everybody else? And then when it failed, he got all of the I told you so's, and I knew that wasn't going to work. And then when he started his second business, people really thought he was crazy and gave him a hard time. And then that one failed, and his third one failed, and his fourth one failed, and his fifth one failed. And long story short, the young man became worth 9 figures in his 20s because of all of those failures. And now he's worth, well over $100 million at about 32 years of age. But it took him 7, 8, 9 businesses before he got it right. So like he says, just get used to it. The people that are hating on you, that are telling you it's not going to work, they're going to be right until they're not. And that's okay. But if you quit, then they are right. But as long as you keep on moving to the next challenge, to the next challenge, to the next challenge, no matter how many times you get knocked down, you keep getting up, then they might be right in the moment, but they're wrong overall. And when they become wrong, it's so self-evident that there's no denying that what you set out to do in the first place was the right thing, and that you were doing the right thing all along. And so, let me look at my board here and really figure out, what I want to talk about. So I want to kind of skip down to, one of the things that I had my wife write out on the board for me was, if you can't change your friends, you might have to change your friends. And folks, environment is so key. And that was one of the things that this weekend really showed me was these were a lot of great people. These were a lot of nice people. But as I've been talking to more and more people, I realized that we're on a very different wavelength. Like, I'm thinking about creating an empire and a legacy for my family. I'm dreaming about, my wife and I want to take, there's a cruise that you can take that's like a 90 to 120 day cruise, and you see over 100 different countries and ports. I mean, I forget, it's something like around $80,000-$90,000 per person. And like, those are the kinds of trips that we're dreaming about and the things that we're thinking about. And a lot of the people that I was hanging out with are really like, man, I just wish I could get 2 days off from work in a row so that I could go, camp an hour away. And there's nothing wrong with camping an hour away. If that's what you really love to do and that's exciting for you, then man, more power to you. Everybody has different dreams. But what I have found is that when you start talking and dreaming big, most people get very, very uncomfortable very, very quickly because they haven't been around it. It's something, totally new to them. You could just imagine if all of a sudden you were put in a room with somebody and they spoke Chinese and they didn't speak English. Both of you would be very, very uncomfortable because they couldn't understand or comprehend what you were saying. And likewise, they could be talking the most amazing thing. They could be saying the most incredible thing that you'd ever heard in your life, but you would be kind of uncomfortable because it would be foreign to you and you weren't understanding it. So sometimes I can kind of see in people's eyes when I start talking about financial freedom and getting out of the 9 to 5 and, living your dreams and having the time and the money to choose to do what you want to do when you want to do it, I can see people visibly see them start to shrink up a little bit and get uncomfortable. And that's okay because they just haven't been exposed to it. And so that's, what this show is all about today. If you are fairly new to the idea of personal development, one of the main things that I want to make very clear today is about one of the only things that you have any control over is your thoughts and what you choose to dwell on, your attitude. So they say that, 10% of life is what happens to you. 90% of life is how you react to it. And we always have a choice. Like another saying that I really like, I'm not perfect at this by any means, is nobody can make you feel anything that you don't allow them to. So, they don't have control. If somebody comes up and tries to make you feel bad by telling you that you're worthless, that you're no good, that you screwed that up, you didn't do this right, you didn't do that right, you're lazy, blah, blah, blah. Like that person technically does not have the power to make you feel bad unless you let them. And so one of the most important things that I'm really trying to impress upon you today is that you have to take it in the Bible. I don't remember the exact verse, but it says, take every thought captive to the obedience of Christ. And you just want to focus on what's good and what is a blessing, what is light in your life. And sometimes that's so much easier said than done. I keep noticing myself, there's a camera right behind my laptop that we use when we're recording, like deep dive videos, so that they have two angles and then they can put my face over the top of the camera. I keep looking at that camera and I don't know when I'm looking at it, if it looks like I'm looking at you guys or not, or if when I look right there, it looks like I'm looking at you guys or not. I definitely want you guys to feel like, I am, connecting and that I'm talking to you, almost individually. So my point is, folks, is that the average person out there doesn't know any of this and they're not thinking about any of this. And so therefore, if you want to break free from that average life, that average mindset, it takes a deliberate. You got to be deliberate. There you go. I wanted to say deliberateness, but that ain't even a word. It takes deliberateness in order to break away from the masses and to get away from that way that everybody thinks. You got to remember, we were all pretty much raised in the same environment for the most part. Go to school, get a good job, get a good education. It was the school system that taught us, to draw within the lines. One of the things that school taught us, we were talking about this the other day. I talk about this a lot, but school always teaches you that being a copycat is a bad thing. And I'm not going to disagree in some ways. It certainly is not a good idea to be leaning over and looking at the person next to you and what they are doing and copying their answers. But at the same time, society has taken it way, way, way too far. Like, man, the fastest way to get from point A to point B is to find somebody that's already done it and then follow the roadmap, follow the blueprint. So what I like to say is it's okay to be a copycat. Just make sure you're copying the right cat. But that's something that we can, if you ask and you were to go down onto whatever street you live on or, the 7-Eleven by your house, and you ask people every time they walk by you, hey, what is your opinion on somebody who is a copycat? Probably 99 out of 100, if not 100 people would have a derogatory response, would think that that was a negative thing. But I can tell you folks from my own experience that being a copycat is what has helped me get to a lot of the success that I have, because I found people that had what I wanted. And what you will also find is the more successful someone is, the more a lot of times the more excited they are to have people that they can help and that they can lift up and help have that success. So you would think, that a very successful person might be very hard to get to. Now, I mean, yeah, if you're talking about a Bill Gates or somebody, yeah, that's going to be a little bit hard. But believe me, if I'm at church and somebody walks up to me and says, "Hey, man, I've heard you've had a lot of success in cryptocurrency and investing, and I would love to get together and pick your brain. Maybe we could go out to lunch." I say yes every single time. I've never told anybody no that's actually come to me and said, "Hey, man, I would really like to know more about what you know." It's a privilege and an honor to help other people get it. So when I say you're either going to have to change your friends or you're going to have to change your friends, the cold hard truth is, folks, 90% of the time, you're going to probably have to find a new group of friends. And I'm not saying that you can't hang out with the old friends. A lot of times your family is your worst enemy. So I have a lot of family that's super negative that I don't enjoy being around. They're very small thinkers. I love them. And if they called me tomorrow with a huge issue going on in their life, I'd be in my car headed for their house to help them. Absolutely. And I pray for them and I love them, but I don't spend a lot of time with them. I'll talk to them occasionally. We'll get together for a special occasion here and there, but I'm not spending time with these people day in and day out. And that's what I mean. So when you start to want to break free in life, you want to start doing something different so that you can have something different, all of a sudden your friends are going to be like, "What do you mean you don't want to go out and get drunk tonight?" Well, hey guys, I've got some important stuff that I'm doing tomorrow. I've got this meeting. I'm starting this new company. I've got, some YouTube videos to watch because I'm investing in cryptocurrency. I want to have freedom in my life. I want to be able to quit my job. What do you mean you want to quit your job, man? We've been working at this company together for 10 years. What makes you think that you're going to get rich in cryptocurrency, man? You're living in dream world, Brad. What are you thinking? You got to get away from that kind of stuff. The fact of the matter is you do have to be deliberate in creating this mindset that's going to allow you to break free from the bondage of the average person, and the society that we are living in is designed to hold us down. And so an example of that, what I wanted to give you a little picture in your mind is I wish I had the actual picture here. I can't do it, but I want you to imagine like a pitcher of Coke, a great big, huge pitcher of Coke, like they might have at a restaurant, that's a full gallon or more of Coke. And I want you to imagine that Coke, that liquid, that dark kind of sludgy liquid is your mind, and that it's not good. Like you would like for your mind to be a beautiful, clear, water, beautiful glass jug with beautiful crystal clear spring water in it is what you would like. But you've got this mind that looks like, a pitcher of Coke. Well, folks, it's not enough to just decide, hey, I don't want to really be like this Coke anymore. So I'm just, I'm going to not be like the Coke. That is living in a dream world. You cannot continue to hang around the same friends and the same people and watch the same TV shows and turn on, news every morning and watch all of the negativity in the world, but say, hey, I'm going to get cleared up and be like this pitcher of beautiful ice water. It's not going to happen. So how do you go from this pitcher of Coke to this pitcher of ice water? Well, it takes work and it takes time. And the way that you do it is one glass at a time. You take a glass of the beautiful ice water and you pour it into the pitcher of Coke. And the first time you do it, little of the Coke is going to run out over the sides and spill down. And you're going to look at that pitcher and it's going to look basically exactly like it did before you ever poured any water into it. But you read 10 pages in a good book, and we're going to talk about some of the books. You read 10 pages in a good book. Maybe you, instead of listening to music when you're working out or when you're driving in your car, I say use your car as an opportunity to fill your brain with positivity. A lot of people say, man, I ain't got time to listen to a 30-minute or a 1-hour podcast every day on mindset. But folks, most everybody here probably spends at least 30 minutes, if not an hour or more, in their car. So it's just a matter of choosing to listen to something different when you're in your car. 10 pages a day in the right book will change your life over time. So anyways, to get back to the example, you read 10 pages, you listened to a little something positive, and you poured your glass. I'm not going to do this. This is dirty looking coffee. So I'm glad that you can't see through it, but imagine that this is crystal clear spring water. You pour it into that pitcher, you don't see any difference. But then tomorrow you read another 10 pages. You start finding some other like-minded people like you, like in this community. You're watching this YouTube channel and you see Dave P. You see, Amy Lives Crypto. You see Deadwood. You see Eric. You see these people in here on a day in, day out basis, and you start to create friendships with other people that are going the same place as you, and another glass of water goes into that pitcher. And then the next day you do it again and again and again. And I tell you what, slowly over time, that pitcher starts to become clearer and clearer. And if you continue to do it for long enough, eventually you will displace all of the Coke and you will have that crystal clear, beautiful ice water pitcher. And it's an amazing thing when you start to get there. But one of the things I got to tell you folks is that in order to keep it clear, you got to keep doing the things that got you there. So often in life, I will see people that will read a couple of great books. They'll start listening to a good podcast. They'll find some new friends, and everything will be headed in the direction that they want to head in. And so what do? 60, 90 days later, they're like, hey, I'm good. I'm going to go back to that old environment of mine, those old friends, those small-minded people that I used to associate with, and I'm going to try to change them. And what you will find happening is that they will pour Coke back into your pitcher faster than you can pour ice water into it. And so this is a process. I like to say that success is rented, and you have to pay for it every single day. And so as you get going in this process, you have to be diligent because negativity is coming at you from 10 different directions all day long. The only way that you can displace that negativity is with the positivity. And that's what you're doing with the books that you're reading, with the podcasts that you're watching, with the people that you're associating. You're displacing that negative. It is there. You cannot get away from it. I mean, even you just go to a restaurant and you ask the server, hi, how you doing today? And they start dumping on you. Well, this happened and that happened and blah, 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 and inflation sucks, and I can't believe that so-and-so is going to get elected, or I can't believe that this person's going to get elected. Man, did you see on my way to work today, gas was $5 a gallon and hamburger was $6 for a pound? And you cannot get away from negativity, folks, but you can displace it, and you can choose positivity by putting it into your life. So let's go back here real quick, grab a little cup of coffee here, and then go back into the chats. So let's take a peek at this. 2 Corinthians 10:5. We are destroying speculation and every lofty thing raised up against the knowledge of God, and we are taking every thought captive to the obedience of Christ. Amen. We're human. Thoughts are going to come into our brain, and whether or not you dwell on them is going to have such a big impact on your life. Like, folks, if you're in a relationship and you have somebody that you love, that doesn't mean that you're never going to come across somebody else that doesn't, maybe, where you feel like an attraction, or maybe you catch yourself daydreaming for 10 or 15 or 20 seconds about that person or something. Like, we're all human, but you have the ability to nip that right in the bud and remember why you're here and why the person that you are with is so special. This is just a little side note for those of you that are married. One of the things that I always do in all of my conversations with women is I always bring my wife up very, very early in the conversation because I never want the lady that I'm talking with to ever have any doubt about what my intentions are. I never want them to think that I'm talking to them because I have romantic intentions. I want them to know, hey, it's just business, it's just crypto, whatever it is that I'm talking about. I want them to know that that's all that there is, that there's no ulterior motives. The other thing is I want them, if they see me and my wife walking down the street next week or next month or next year, I want them to think to themselves, man, that is a lucky gal. She's really got a husband that loves her and respects her. And so I go very, very much out of my way to make sure that women know I'm happily married. But the other thing that does, folks, is that keeps me out of bad situations, because if there ever was a woman who had bad intentions, that was thinking about maybe trying to see if they could land me, I think most of the time they're just not even going to try, because people want to go after people that they think are vulnerable and that they have an ability where they see that chink in the armor. And when they see the way that I look at my wife, the way that I talk about my wife, the way that I love my wife, most women are not even going to bother. They're going to go find an easier target. So by doing things like that, folks, you just put yourself in a position of power and where you really have a lot less to worry about. So one of the other things that I wanted to mention that she wrote here on the board for me, and I heard this from a gentleman named Myron Golden not too long ago, and I really love it. He says, all work works. Either it is working for you, you're having the success that you want, or it is working on you. And when it is working on you, that's the tough part. That's what we're talking about right now. A lot of things in life, if you don't have what you want in life, it really comes down to the fact that you haven't become the person that can have them. You know, if you wanted to be a professional basketball player, you couldn't just say, hey, I'm going to be a professional basketball player, go stand in front of a mirror and yell and, kumbaya your way into being a professional basketball player. You would have to go do the work. You would have to become a professional basketball player. For those of us that are working on crypto, you can't just be like, hey, I want to be a crypto millionaire and expect that you're going to go buy some Shiba Inu or Doge token or Aerodrome or whatever. And then all of a sudden in the next week or two, it's going to go 1000x and you're going to be a millionaire. And even if you did get lucky like that, you would probably be very disappointed in the long run, because Jim Rohn once said it, and I love the way that he says, if you come into $1 million fast, you best become a millionaire so you get to keep the money. So folks, what you really should be focused on is becoming the person. You have to become the person that can take care of the problems. In businesses like this, like I'm learning every single day, there's a lot of challenges to running a YouTube channel. And then we came up with the Inner Circle membership and building that website out. And now, coming up with ways to funnel people to the website so that the right people see me and the people that resonate with me become part of the Inner Circle. Like, there's new challenges every single day. And if I'm not having the success that I wish I was having, it just simply means that I am not the person yet that is worthy of that success. I haven't developed the skills yet to have the success that I'm looking for, but I will. I'm getting better every day, but if I don't have a skill yet, that's okay. And so it's more important to work on you than it is to work on what you're working on. Like, some of you would be better off just almost forgetting that crypto existed and just go buy yourself some of these books that I'm going to recommend and start listening to some of these podcasts, and then come back in 30 or 60 or 90 days and start buying crypto again, start investing in crypto again. Because I hate to tell you, all of us have had bad circumstances in life, and there's a lot of people I'm going to make mad with this statement. All of us have challenges. All of us have bad things that happen in life. All of us have people that die. All of us have sickness that happen. All of us have bad things in life. All of us have been treated unfairly. All of us have had a boss that we couldn't get along with, that was a jerk. Everybody has problems. But a lot of the problems in our lives are 100% our own fault, based on the bad choices that we've made. And you can point back and say, well, I'm not financially successful because of this, and this. And there might be some truth to that, but I promise you that if I was able to be a fly on the wall and I was able to really look into your life, that over the course of a couple of months, I could point some things out to you like, hey, I know you're talking about not having any money to invest in crypto, but I notice that you go to Starbucks every day on the way to work and you spend, $7 on that latte, $8 with the tip. Do you realize 8 times 30 is $240? $240 times 10 is $2,400 a month that you could be putting into your pocket, because most of these cryptos are going to 10x. What if it 50x's? 50 times 200 is 10 grand. So that cup of coffee could be costing you 10 grand. Going out to dinner. So many things. We've all probably heard throughout our life to live beneath our means, to save and invest. Like, you ever heard the pay yourself first motto? That's basically when you get your paycheck, you're supposed to take a percentage of your paycheck and invest that into the long term. And guess what? People that do that are financially successful. If they live beneath their means and they invest 10-15% of their income over the course of 10 years, if you invested 10% of your income, you would have a minimum of 100% of a year's income in the bank. And with interest, it would probably be more like 2 years. So if you're sitting here and you're, say, 30 years old or older, and you don't have at least 2 years worth of living expenses saved up somewhere in a 401k or somewhere, it's because you're not using financial success principles. And that's okay. I didn't do that stuff for a huge portion of my life, and I still am struggling with really creating that habit. So it's, I'm preaching to myself as much as I'm preaching to you. But folks, there's things in this world that you got to get worked on right with yourself. And I know most of us don't want to hear that we're the problem, but once you really become aware of it and you embrace it, the great thing about the fact that I am my own biggest enemy is that I can fix that. If my wife was my biggest enemy, or if my boss was my biggest enemy, or somebody at church was my biggest enemy, if anybody but me is my biggest enemy, I'm screwed. What can I do about it? You got to focus on what you can control, and thank God that this is something that we can control. If you really realize and come to the conclusion that you are your biggest enemy, it should be one of the happiest days of your life, because you can do something about it. And so that should give you hope. And I'm telling you, as you get the awareness and you start to realize, hey, all of these millionaire people that I really look up to and that are successful and that have the finances that I want, that have good relationships, that are doing and living the life that I want, I guarantee you that just about every single one of them has read the books that I'm going to recommend here shortly. And if they haven't read these exact books, they've read books very much like them. I guarantee you that every single one of them has broke away from the negative, small-minded people and gotten involved in a group of bigger thinking, positive, moving in the right direction people. Now, some of us may have been blessed more than others in life. Some of us might have been born into that type of environment, and it comes more naturally to us. But the other, doesn't matter what environment you're in, once you understand that you're in that environment, you can break free, folks. So once you realize, hey, I am an eagle, but I'm hanging out down here in the chicken pen. They say that if an eagle was to get raised by chickens, it might never fly. because it doesn't realize that it has the ability to. So that's what a lot of humans are doing. There's a lot of eagles out there in this human form, but they're hanging out with a bunch of chickens, and they never realize that they have the ability to soar. And then someday somebody comes by soaring with their wings out, loving life, and woohoo, man, today is a beautiful day. And the eagle realizes, hey, wait, if that guy can fly and soar and enjoy the sky, so can I. And that's what I'm here to do, is be a beacon of hope for other people. And that's what I want to see you do. There are not enough beacons of hope in this world right now. We need more beacons of hope. And I'm hoping that some of you will take what we're diving into here on these weekly Mondays, implement it into your life, and start shining that light and giving other people hope. Believe me, people that know me are like, man, if Brad can do it, I can do it. And I promise you, because I'm nothing special. I mean, no more special than you or anybody else. I'm special because God created me, and he created me in his image, and God is perfect. God is amazing. God can do anything. And so therefore, as I open up my mind and realize that I'm made in his image, yeah, I'm special, but so are you. God put you here on this earth to do something amazing. He put you here on this earth to do big things. He has a purpose for your life. And as you start to realize that and start to come out of your shell and start to explore and work on yourself, you are going to be amazed at how your life starts to change, and how things that seemingly were bad, that felt like the forces of the universe were working against you, how they were actually conspiring to do you good. Ed Milet says, everything is happening for us, not to us. And I found out that that is so true. I've had a couple of times in my life where I went and applied for a job, and I felt like I was one of the most qualified candidates. One of them was a poker dealing job. And so I had several years of experience. I went to this audition, and I got to watch everybody that auditioned, including myself. And not to pat myself on the back, a lot of these folks were pretty new dealers. They were okay, but like I was head and shoulders above the competition with my skill in dealing, because I'd been doing it for many, many years, and I didn't get the job. And it kind of made me upset. I was like, why in the world didn't they not hire me when I was one of the best people that auditioned? But guess what? That poker room was dead slow and went out of business 6 months later. So I really believe that God just saved me from some misery. In the moment, I was frustrated when I didn't get that job, but 6 months later, I was able to look back, and I was so grateful that I didn't get that job. Like I was working at the MGM Grand here in Las Vegas, and the Tropicana was like, you could walk across the Sky Bridge to the Tropicana. The Tropicana was the casino opening up the poker room, and I wanted a second job. But I would literally get off work then at the MGM after they didn't hire me, and I would walk across this bridge, and I would have to walk right past the Tropicana poker room in order to get to my car. And I would walk by, and there would be no games. There'd be like 3 or 4 people sitting there, just sitting at the table, waiting, hoping that people would come in and play poker so that they could make some money, because as a poker dealer, you get paid minimum wage plus tips, and most of the money comes from tips. So if you're not actually dealing, you're making no money. So I've had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity that seemed in the immediate present like it was passing me by, and then down the road I figured out that it would have been a horrible thing had that happen. I've had crypto investments like that. I've had, companies that I talked to where I wanted to, promote their project and stuff, and we just didn't see eye to eye, and they didn't want to work with me. I didn't have enough, enough subscribers, this or that or whatever. And then those tokens have gone on to fail and be horrible investments. And I thought, man, I'm so glad that didn't work out, that I didn't have an opportunity to share that with my community. So folks, we've been going for an hour already. Holy smokes. I'm the only guy I know that can talk for an hour without breathing. So I think if I look over here at my whiteboard and the things that I wanted to talk about today, I think I covered it. It might have been slightly haphazardly. I know that one of the things that I could get better at is having maybe more of a bullet point, bullet point, bullet point. I can't help myself. There's a lot of speakers out there that really focus on the problem and they really talk about the problem. And then at the end, after they've gone through the whole problem, they'll talk about the solutions. And that's great. But I've found myself like I kind of want to do both. I want to bring up a problem and a solution. And I think it's partially because I think I'm afraid I'll forget about the solution. Like when I'm talking about the problem, certain things come to my mind that I feel like are important to say. I don't know if what I'm doing is better or worse. It just is what it is. But I notice there's times where I come into these videos where I really want to just talk about problem, and then solution, and instead it's problem, solution, and blah, blah, blah. So we talked about, fear, doubt, and worry, and all of those things that are in your mind and how to get rid of them through positivity and just practice focusing. So that's something else real quick, meditation. I am a horrible meditator, but it's something that I'm working on. And so look into meditation. I know it sounds funny. There's probably a lot of people in here that love it. There's also probably a lot of people like me that had never really done it and that it's very foreign to. But I am finding that meditation can be very, very powerful. Affirmations can also be very, very powerful. So I like to start my affirmations out with, I am so happy and grateful. It's important when you're doing affirmations to be in an attitude of gratitude. And so, I will say, I am so happy and grateful. And then I will add on to that, whatever it is that I'm happy and grateful about, whatever it is that I want, so one of the things, I am so happy and grateful that I have a vacation home in the Exuma, Bahamas, right on the beach. And different stuff like that. Figure out what it is that you want and really start to focus on that. And then anytime you get a negative thought, something that's coming into your brain that's telling you, oh man, you can't have a vacation home in the Bahamas, just kick it out, scratch it, don't entertain those thoughts. And so let's get into some of the books that I like. So for those of you that are at home and have the ability to write these down, one of the first books that I would recommend is The Power of Positive Thinking here by Norman Vincent Peale. That will really start to help you understand exactly what the title says, The Power of Positive Thinking. Most people don't really believe that thoughts are powerful. They don't understand that negative thinking versus positive thinking really changes anything. Most people don't believe that, but I promise you it's true. And whether you believe in it or not, it's either working for you or it's working against you, like the law of gravity. Another book that I would recommend, this is probably one of my favoriteest books in the whole world, and it's called Ask and It Is Given. And this really focuses on what I was talking a little bit about here with the mindset, with the affirmations, with the meditation. And then I would also highly recommend a book called The Power of Intention by Wayne Dyer. Power of Intention by Wayne Dyer. My dog chewed it up, so the cover of it doesn't look very good. It's still readable, but one of my dogs got a hold of it, chewed it up a little bit, so I'm not going to try to hold it up in front of the camera. But The Power of Intention by Wayne Dyer. And then The Magic of Thinking Big. The Magic of Thinking Big by Dr. David Schwartz is a phenomenal book. I think that it is one of the best books out there for really getting you to start dreaming again. One of the troubles, folks, a lot of people that are watching this, if you've been beaten down by the world for 10, 20, 30 years, it's hard to listen to a 1 hour talk and get yourself out of this funk that you're in. So many people are living what I call a life of quiet desperation. Like they really question what they're doing here, on this earth. And, I just had a friend message me yesterday that, somebody in one of our other groups, unfortunately, passed away. And, and it was self-inflicted. And it reminded me again that so many people here on this earth are living a life of quiet desperation. They go to work, they come home, they go to work, they come home, they pay their bills, they're broke. They go to work, they come home, they pay their bills, they're broke. They pay their bills, they're broke. They pay their bills, they're broke. And man, after 5 or 10 or 20 years on this earth, it would be very easy to wonder what in the world we're even doing here. Why? Like, what is the point? And that's why this channel exists, folks, because I'm here to hopefully give some of you hope. But if you're in that position where you're living some quiet desperation in your life, you feel like you're just going through the motions and that nothing that you do matters, I promise you, you do matter. You can have a huge impact on this world, but you got to work on yourself first. And so the magic of thinking big will open up your mind to the possibilities. And so there they are, magic of thinking big, the power of positive thinking. And then last but not least, As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. So it says in the Bible, as a man thinketh, so is he. And so it's so important. It goes back to the power of our thoughts. So As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, Power of Intention by Wayne Dyer, Asking It Is Given. I can't remember the authors' names for Asking It Is Given. It's Esther and Jerry Hicks are the authors. Asking It Is Given. This is one of my my favorite books. This is actually, so this is so special to me because my dad gave me this book and he signed it not too long before he passed away. And so this is a book that I'll always have in my collection, but it says, Dear son, may this book always be a blessing to you. Love always, Dad. And this book has been an incredible blessing. Like, out of all of these books, if I had one of them and that I really just had to read over and over and over, this Asking It Is Given would probably be the book that I would read over and over and over. But luckily we don't have to choose. So, I didn't go through the chat as much normally as I do. So I want to real quickly just say hello, man. You guys are just, I love the heck out of all of you. And you don't know how much it means for you guys to be here. And then some of the comments that you guys have made when when you go onto a video and you make a comment talking about how that was instrumental for you or how you made some money with this token or just how this live stream helped you, like, you don't know what you're doing for me, because this is definitely not all sunshine and rainbows, folks. I mean, I love what I do, but I promise you, man, like, it's not as easy as it might look to just turn on a camera and start talking. There's a lot of stuff that comes with it. And so you guys mean the world to me. So thank you, Deadwood, for being here. Dave, thank you for being here. Amy, I think you probably had, you had to hop off, but oh yeah, she's reminding me I'm trying to drink a gallon of water a day, and I mentioned that on one of the videos, and so trying to remind me to drink my water. Thank you. It is after 10 o'clock here in the morning, and I haven't drank any water yet. I've just been working on coffee, so I will get that drink. Vegas Champs, man. Thank you so much for being here. I want to go back up. Eric Bernstein, I love you, brother. Appreciate you being here first. And once again, like I said, I'm excited to have this workout session coming up. And once again, NBS Stellar, thank you for being here. My wife, thank you for being here. Who else am I missing here in the chat? Anybody else that was in here? Yeah, Hadar. Hello, my friend. Thank you. In fact, I think you are one of the people that made a comment on a video recently that really, made me feel good, that brought a smile to my face, and that made me realize that everything that I am doing is worth doing. So God bless you, my friend. Thank you. Thank you for being here. The MGM is massive, man. It is a massive place. It is easy to get lost in there. So with that, folks, I just thank you all again for being here. We will see you on Wednesday. Wednesday, we change things up. Wednesday, we're not talking about mindset. We're talking about cryptocurrency. We're talking about some microcap gems. We're talking about some tokens that we believe are going to 10, 25, 50, 100x and more. So we're going to take all of this mindset and all of these things that we're doing on Monday. We're going to put them into use on Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we're going to make some money. So God bless you all, and we will see you again on Wednesday. Thank you for being here. Have a great Monday.